Welcome to this presentation. This is the first part where we are going to start heat exchanger, and what we are going to cover in this video, definitions and classification of exchangers. Okay, in previous section we have already covered valve operation and accessibility. So let us start with the first part. So what is heat exchanger? The main definition is temperature control devices that operate by transferring heat from one fluid medium to another. Okay, whatever the name itself indicates, we are exchanging the heat from one fluid to another. Okay, so how we can classify all the heat exchangers? There are two criteria. One is based on heating mode and one is based on process function. Okay, these are two basic criteria based on which we can classify all the heat exchangers. Okay, in next slides we'll go into details how we are going to differentiate and what kind of heat exchangers are there based on this classification. So based on heating mode, if you see, this is the first criteria based on which we have classified all the heat exchangers. We have categorized into another two parts. One is direct application, another is indirect application. In direct application, we are having fire heaters and furnaces. If you see in this picture, these are the fire heaters where fire is in direct contact. Okay, so that's why we are calling it direct application. In indirect application, we are having five categories here. One is shell and tube, plate exchanger, then spiral exchangers, double pipe exchangers, air coolers. Okay, if you see the pictorial view, actual pictures, shell and tube will be like this. One shell will be there and these are the tubes inside this. Then air coolers, which are cooling the fluid with the help of airflow. Then double pipe exchanger, if you see, the double pipe exchangers are there. Then spiral exchangers and plate type exchangers. We'll look into all these exchangers in detail in coming slides. Okay, so this is the only criteria to classify the exchangers based on heating mode. Okay, how heat is flowing. So if you see, this is the criteria of classification. Process function. So based on process function, we have different process functions based on which we can classify the exchangers. So first one is where heat exchanger, which heats one fluid stream while cooling the other without change in flowing streams. Okay, similarly cooling intercoolers cools liquids or gases without condensation. All these are the definition from process point of view, but as a good layout engineer, everybody should understand why we are calling it exchanger, coolers, subcoolers, chiller or preheaters. So all these are the process functions. If you see, condenses vapor and further cools the condensate using water as cooling media. Okay, once we are cooling it here, then again we are using, so those are subcoolers. Chiller, where we are using refrigerant as a cooling medium and we are freezing where freezing point or below prevailing cooling water temperature. Okay, so this is the basic thing which we are using in chillers. Preheater heats process stream generally up to its boiling point. Okay, so this is the catch here. Based on this criteria, these are called preheaters. Similarly, these are the five another exchangers based on process function only. Reboiler reboils vaporizes the bottom stream of the fractionating tower, which we have already discussed in fractionate column part. Okay, steam generator uses heat of process stream for producing steam. So based on this criteria, we call it steam generator. Vaporizer evaporator, which vaporizes a part of process stream using steam or hot oil medium. Okay, so based on this we are calling it vaporizer. Then condenser, it must be condensing something, so based on this these are called condensers. Similarly, waste heat boiler uses waste heat to produce steam. So based on this criteria we call the exchangers a waste heat boiler. So these are the all the criteria based on which we are changing the name of the exchanger. Okay, the basic is process function. Based on process function, we have different process functions. Based on this, we call exchanger with different names. So these were all the definitions and basic classification of exchangers which we have discussed in this video. In another part, in second part of this section of heat exchanger in 11.2, we are going to discuss construction and operating features of all the exchangers, majorly which we have discussed where indirect mode is there. For example, spiral shell and tube, all these exchanger we'll discuss in detail, construction and operability, so that we can understand what kind of exchanger we are dealing with in all kind of layouts. So I hope you like this video. See you in the next part.